the intro button, and now it's just certain. Well, good evening, everybody, and thank you for tuning in on this fine Tuesday. That's right, you know what time it is. It is Tuesday, 7:57 Central Standard Time. We are back. We are here. It is Let's Talk Football, the Roundtable. I am Nick Rosario. I am the guy who does his best to keep control, and I usually lose it by about 2 minutes in. So, hey, that's how we roll. That's how we do it. But thank you again, as I said, for tuning in. Thank you, Montel Jordan, for that reference. And, I'm Nick Rosario. We're here. We're live. We're having fun. It's, as you notice, we are missing one. Ms. Delilah is off this week, but Mr. Sean Spencer will be joining us a little bit later. So hopefully you checked out Let's Talk Football with Janae and Sean, and now you're coming to check us out. Thank you so much. I'm never alone, as you know. So my other two lovely co-hosts I have here today, Tina. How are you doing, Tina? What's going on? Tina Winter, ladies and gentlemen.
10 days and counting.
Yes, 10 days and counting, absolutely. For those of you who may not know what Tina's talking about, she has a birthday coming up, and Tina has given herself a present, which I think is lovely, and she will be headed to España for a week next Saturday, I believe, right? Saturday you're leaving?
The week after, the 8th.
Oh, the 8th, sorry.
Saturday,
not
the following Saturday.
The following Saturday, sorry, yes. We are in it's Tuesday, Nick. Know where you are. But yes, Tina will be taking a nice little vacation for her birthday, so we hope she enjoys that. But yes, other than that, everything's good, Tina?
Everything's good, yeah.
Fantastic.
I mean, I wasn't in great shape Sunday after all the games were over, but...
Well, sure. I can only imagine, just a few libations were back and forth. No big deal, it's just a little bit. Just a few, right.
A little bit.
And of course...
Mr. Shay.
Yes, right. Of course, the man with the plan, Mr. 100 Grand, name is Stan. Don't call me late with the plan. I don't know anything else I can rhyme with that, so I'll just stop. Anthony Handy, ladies and gentlemen. Handy, how you doing this fine evening, sir?
I'm doing pretty good. I don't use wireless internet. I use a LAN. And I don't walk on the streets at night because I'm an African American.
Oh, wow, there it is.
But what I'm going to say, I like that Eminem song, Stan.
Yeah.
And when I get really hot, I turn on my bedroom fan. That's what's going on. And oh, by the way, if you want to pick up some of that Le Potier by Shay, we got that. We can ship it to you wherever you want it. I'm very happy to be here. It's one of those nights. I'm in one of those moods.
Sure.
We talked before the show, so there's no telling what direction.
Right. Oh no.
I may turn. And listen, I don't know if you noticed, I was doing this as Tina was talking because I'm watching the Facebook feed for comments, and so
right.
I got to doing the bit from what's the movie, the Star Wars parody, the
Spaceballs.
Spaceballs. I was doing the Spaceballs parody where they were just turning and looking.
And
turning, and it amused me greatly.
No, it amused me greatly. Well, I'm glad. Hey, as long as you're amused, my friend, we're good. Like, as long as that's happening, we're all good.
Nah, the black stormtroopers is a giant afro pick, though. Okay.
Yeah. Man, we ain't found... Yeah, never mind. Yeah, you know the line. You know the line.
I'm doing my part. Yeah, I'm doing my part. Yeah.
Yeah, that one. Yeah, exactly. And on that note, how do we start every show, ladies and gentlemen? With a All right, and as you know, we are continuing our little coin toss topic again this week of the coaching carousel. Because as you know, there were 7 to start. Let's just go over this real quick. There were 7 job openings, head coaching jobs. Basically, by the time season ended, we had 7 coaching jobs, and we all know that the Patriots hired Mike Vrabel. We talked about that. The Jets did pick up Aaron Glenn, so the Lions lost another of their coordinators. The Raiders picked up Petey Carroll. So real quickly, what do you guys think about this? Sir Pete going to the Raiders, as Chris Berman would say. Tina, your thoughts on Pete Carroll going to the Raiders?
I mean, the Raiders are always going to Raider, so I mean, it makes sense that they'd hire a cheating coach.
Oh, there it is. I like it. Tina's boom, fire already, ladies and gentlemen. We're only 6 minutes into the show. There it is. First shot fired. Pete Carroll. I will say this. Yeah, there you go.
We talked about Dallas, like TJ's thing about the Dallas coaches. Like,
yeah,
it's a dead end job. Like, he goes, he does something wrong, he moves somewhere else. So he goes to Stanford, to us. Now, yeah, he ended up leaving on his own, leaving from Seattle, but still, I mean.
Yeah, I was I won't lie. Like, I think I told this to Sean, but like, Pete Carroll kind of rubbed me the wrong way with the way he left USC when all that happened and jumped to the pros. And then I was like, okay, great. You took over a good Seattle team. Okay, great. Like, all right, Pete. Yeah. But anyways, again.
Now, I will say, all that being said,
right,
he is good with young quarterbacks. So, and that's really what the Raiders need, especially if this season is anything in the AFC West.
Yeah.
If the Raiders don't get a decent young quarterback and bring that team up to snuff, they're going to be in the bottom 4 for a long time.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you on that. Yeah.
But Max Crosby's going to be out. Like, I still don't quite understand how Mr. TFB is able to be a limited partner, but he's helping make all of these decisions.
Yeah, apparently he was in on the interview with Carroll. Like, he's doing the interviews. So, yeah, that's crazy, right?
But it's Tom.
It's Tommy.
Nathan Brady. The NFL's going to let him do whatever he wants to do. So, it's just, all I got to say is NFL and Tom Brady and Mark Davis and the Raiders is you're setting a precedent. Let's see what happens going forward now.
Yeah.
All these limited partners now can be more involved in the team. So
yes.
Next thing you know, you're going to have active players that are owners of other teams, and that's going to be a mess.
Well, back in the day, it was like that, wasn't it? When the league kind of first started, right? George Halas was a player coach, like, and it's happened a couple other times throughout history.
But he wasn't. He was a player coach for his own team, though, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, he was on the Bears, right?
No,
he played, and he was.
No, I'm saying what I'm saying is like you'd have somebody for the Bears who's a part owner of the 49ers.
Oh, I don't remember that. Okay, I didn't know that.
No, I'm just saying that at the rate it's going, give it some time.
Oh, you're saying? Oh, yeah.
I mean, of course, the owners are going to shoot that down faster than crap, but still, you get where I'm going.
I do, because again, I didn't think probably half of the things that are happening on the NFL would ever happen, and here we go. But that's a whole separate show for a whole other time.
You mean like not being able to tackle quarterbacks if they're on a star team that's on a dynasty run? Did I say that out loud?
Apparently so, Anthony. Apparently so. Do you have any comment, though, Anthony? Yeah, there's shots fired. Shots fired! Do you have any comments on the Pete Carroll hiring? Handy on the Raiders?
Yeah, pew, pew. I think as long as they keep the telephone number to Shady Pines on speed dial, they'll probably be all right.
Tina's got her soda stream over there, right? What's going on?
We got Tina. It right up your nose too, didn't it?
Yeah. It kind of was one of those.
I did this before it went in.
Picture it, Sicily, 1922.
Come on,
Shady Pines. There it is. Hoop. There it is.
I think Pete Carroll's Pete Carroll is a good coach. He's got a great. Well, I won't talk about his varied history because I think Tina put it so very eloquently.
Right.
But I do. Is this one of those deals? Is this one of those deals where like Coach Pop in San Antonio, where the game hasn't passed him by, but the attitude of the young men coming into the league may have, and
Yeah.
I think that's what
Yeah.
I'm, you're seeing now, where you're seeing the coaches are much closer in age. The coaches are much closer in age to the players, the ones that are more successful. The McVays out in Los Angeles, Campbell in Detroit,
Yeah.
that kind of thing. Quinn, even, I don't think he's that terribly much older. I think we're probably close in age, Dan Quinn and I, and he's doing marvelous things with that team up in the nation's capital. So I don't know. I mean, if it was a group of 40-year-old guys, I think he'd be all in. I mean, they'd have to keep a lot of liniment, tiger balm in the
Right.
locker room, but still, that's just my 2 cents.
Strikes me as a guy who can get down to the younger guys' levels.
Yeah.
Like in
Well, he doesn't have a
we hope
choice.
so.
He doesn't have a choice because his knees and his back don't straighten, but so far.
You're hilarious. Thank you, Mr. Cornett, for viewing in and
Yeah,
commenting.
that
Good
is
evening,
Tom
sir.
Brady for you.
Yeah, that is.
Shady Pines, Ma. Shady Pines.
All right, and on that, let's welcome our fourth member for this evening, Mr. Sean Spencer of the show. Good evening, Sean. How are you?
Doing well. How you guys doing?
We're doing
Doing
all right.
good.
I hope the show ended well with you and Janae. I'm sure I'll go back later and listen to what you guys had to say because I was prepping for this show, so I missed that. But I'm
All
gonna
I can
assume
tell
it was
you-
on fire. Yes, go ahead.
All I can tell you, sir, is that go ahead and take your collection money because there was a sermon preached. All we needed was a B selection from the choir.
By the way, Handy, Ben Cornett thinks you're much older than you really are. So there you go.
Well, it don't crack. I'm really 100. I'm really 100. I'm really 102. I was in the same. I was in the same band
Don't
class
crack.
with Quincy Jones.
Yeah, I've heard that. Yeah, good Joe. There you go. There it is. See, that's the thing. Like, never mind. I'm gonna stop now before we get ahead of ourselves, and I get us canceled this week. I'm like, let's just stop. But Sean, do you have any comment on Pete Carroll going to the Raiders? What do you think of this?
Wow, that I was really shocked when I heard that. I mean, the guy's hasn't been like in coaching for like 50 years or something like that. I mean,
Something
he's
close
been
to that.
going around.
48 of them.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy. Like, I mean, we know what he's been able to do in college. And I know people feel some type of way about how he cut and run in college. I get that,
Good
you
run.
know. But then to have that similar success with the Seahawks and be one dumb play call, Pete, one dumb pass play call away from potentially winning two.
That still confounds the mind, but yeah.
Yeah. Now, I mean, we know what the Raiders have. I'm sorry, Tina, but they got that Georgia boy, Brock Bowers guy. I'm just sick and tired of these daggone Georgia. But,
Right now.
But when you have
wait, hold on. What did he say? What did he say? Where they from?
I was sick and tired of all these damn Georgia players dominating the daggone league. All right.
Yeah, I mean, that kid had to be the best looking tight end pretty much this year, didn't he? Like, on a crappy team though, like he had no quarterback. Right. The guy still,
It makes you wonder.
Problem because if Bo had been gone, that's who we were taking. We were taking Bowers.
Right.
No, that's true.
I can't give him too much shit. But also, let's also think about this. The Davis family, they're like Jerry. It's big and splashy. They're going to go in with a Pete Carroll, Rex Ryan, that kind of call. So I wasn't too surprised. I was surprised he came out of retirement.
Yeah, Pete was sitting on the couch a little bit there. I was like, hey, I got a coaching job. Let's do this.
And now look at the AFC West right now. Look at the coaches in the AFC West. Like, that's crazy.
Reed, Harbaugh, why am I blinking now all of a sudden?
Reed, Harbaugh, Sean Payton, and
thank you. I was like, Peter's coach,
Pete
right?
Russell.
Sean Payton, hello.
Who the hell is Pete Russell? Where did I come up with that from? I don't
Pete
know.
Russell. Pete Russell. Who's Pete Russell? But so again, you're right. The AFC West, as far as coaching goes next year, that'll be fun to watch those minds play against each other 2 times, throughout the year. So definitely looking forward to that. Let's move on a little bit. The Liam Cohen story has me cracking up. Right? He interviews for the job, doesn't take it. Apparently, doesn't like the general manager. They fire the general manager. He says he's going back to the Bucs, but then they fire the general manager. So now he goes back to the Jaguars. He's the new head coach. So Liam Cohen, congratulations! You get the I Can't Make Up My Mind award for this year for the coaching carousel. But hey, Does this help?
Dum 2.0.
Yeah, go ahead. What'd you say?
Dum 2.0.
Oh, so
No,
Tina has already dubbed him Dum Dum 2.0. For those of you, in case, Dum Dum being Josh McDaniel, who has gone back to the Patriots as the offensive coordinator, but Tina Dum Dum
Because
number
he
2 apparently is the
accepted a
coach.
job and
Yeah,
then turned
right.
around and went back. That's why I
Exactly.
call him Dum Dum
But now
2.0.
accepted the job.
But now-
yeah, now he's back.
Now they're I think because he had gotten the extension right, and then he accepted the job, and then he went elsewhere. But I think it was all beyond that. Whoever the GM was,
Yeah,
right,
well,
for the
that's what
Jags,
they fired the
he
GM
waited till
and-
he fired that guy.
Yeah. It was just funny.
That's crazy.
Talk about the flip
Well,
flop of the year there.
the story goes that the Bucks were trying to reach him all weekend, and his phone
Right.
kept going to voicemail, and he wasn't answering his calls. And
Right?
then they just happened to turn on the TV, and it's like,
What?
Well, yeah, right.
it was like you know that gift for the dude. It's like that one. That's exactly how it was. Like what?
No, again, you just go, hey, hopefully it does something good for Jacksonville, because honestly, to me, that with having ETN there and having Lawrence there, who's now had a good five years in the league, and you're like, something's got to give, Trevor. You got to show some improvement here. And I get, you went through some stuff with your coaches and all that, but hey, we'll see what happens there in Jacksonville. I'm pulling for them. I've always liked Trevor Lawrence. I like Travis Etienne. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, you got to show up. You got to show up a pack up because Joe Burrow is doing stat wise. Joe Burrow is doing stuff with no offensive line. So come on, fam.
True.
Show me something.
And hopefully,
sunshine. Right,
and hopefully that's what they did. Right. And hopefully that's what he comes in and does. I think it's going to be a similar start to the old OC of the Buccaneers before him, where he went to the Panthers. I think it's going to be a similar start, and then they might catch it on the back end. But like you have Brian Thomas Jr. from LSU, who's been balling out. You got the quarterback, the running back, but like to Handy's point, you got to get a line. Like you got to protect your investment, man. Like
exactly.
You saw shots that what Lawrence took last year as Azir.
You mean the one with a dude like just literally it's like, I know you on the ground, but I'm gonna go ahead and like that Richard Pryor, that Richard Pryor bit. I'm gonna let you go. Take that with you.
Yeah, right, exactly. That's pretty much what happened, wasn't it? That reminds me of the old ref call about personal foul, just giving him the business. Like, that harkens back to that, which is the greatest call ever to be in football.
Ever.
That is the best. That is the best.
Yeah.
All right. Well, again, we'll see what happens in Jacksonville. Let's move on a little bit. Here's the funniest one to me, just because obviously Brian Schottenheimer gets hired by the Cowboys as the head coach. He was the OC the last 2 years. Jerry, there's all these coaches out there, and they just go, hey, Brian, how would you like to coach? It's almost like, again, it's the Lou Brown of this, where he's like, hey, Brian, how would you like to coach the Cowboys this year? Oh, I don't know. I got a guy on the line about some white walls. I'll call you later. Like, because come on, man. Like, seriously? You don't even try to go out and get a coach. You just go, hey, Brian, you want this job? Fantastic. Here we go. And then, to boot, this is the greatest news ever. Only because, again, and don't get me wrong, I wanted him out of Chicago, and he's gone. But Matt Eberflus now is the new defensive coordinator for those Dallas Cowboys.
Mm-hmm.
So I will be interested to see what he does if he has a defense by the time the free agency rolls around or whatever. Because Micah Parsons, if he was smart, he'd get the hell out of there. And a couple of those other guys, I'd be like, nope, I don't want to play here anymore. But again, we'll see what Eberflus does. Do you guys have any comment on Schottenheimer? Do you want to throw some? I mean, Sean, did you and Janae talk about this by chance on your show? Yeah, I assume you did, but that's what I'm saying. Like, how did that go? I can only imagine that conversation.
I couldn't stop laughing.
Yeah.
You had Dion, you had Vrabel, you had all these coaches, Pete Carroll, and you picked Brian Schottenheimer.
Schottenheimer. Well, because we already know why.
This is
We
great.
know why.
Listen, but it goes back to the whole running back thing. You had a shot at Derrick Henry, you had a shot at Saquon Barkley, and you pick Ezekiel Elliott. Give up, why don't you? I mean, me personally, I love this. Keep making these decisions.
Well, yeah, you do. Sure you do, because they play in your division. Like,
I
would love this game if I were you.
Yeah, if the Packers did this, you would love it. Yeah.
Oh, well, sure. Well, the Packers are going to self-destruct anyways, in my mind, so whatever. It's fine.
Well, that's why I'm excited.
Well, hold on a second now. Ezekiel Elliott was not a bad back. They just ran him in the ground.
Yeah.
What now?
Well,
Wait, the second go around, Ezekiel Elliott?
No,
Not
talking
Ohio
about.
State the first time.
You're talking about.
I'm talking about recent.
Are you talking about free agency before this season? Oh yeah, I would have gone and got him.
Yeah, no. Originally, oh yeah, absolutely. I know how to beat Ohio State.
Schottenheimer, he just happened to be he was in there picking up the jock straps and throwing them in the. He was the guy picking up the jock straps and stuff, and it's like, hey man,
You just pissed McCarthy off.
Yeah,
he's right. There you go.
Kept him.
Well, yeah. Well, I love it because he was the OC but didn't call the plays. McCarthy did. So, like, what was it like? You're
Jerry,
like, come on, really?
Jerry called the plays.
Well, Jerry called a lot of things, but yeah. But Ben, I agree with you. It could be 7 wins for the Cowboys next year. They're Schottenheimer and Eberflus. As many syllables as wins they'll have next year.
Come here, kid. Turn around for a second.
Right.
How's that feel? Why is your hand up my back? Don't worry, you'll get used to it.
You'll get used to it. Exactly. Hello. And on that note, right? No, you're killing me today, Handy. You're killing me. Again, I love it.
How you doing, Bubba J? I'm doing pretty good.
Exactly.
People actually closed the blinds finally in the stadium.
Oh yeah. Boy, what a fiasco that was, huh? Hey, look, the sun shines right in my kicker's eyes. How about we leave that? That's a great idea.
Hilarious.
Oh,
hilarious.
There's just so much there in Dallas that we could do a whole show on the ineptitude.
Okay, but it's always against them.
Yeah. I mean, it literally, like, exactly. Like, how do you not see this and go, you guys, America's team my behind, you guys are the laughing stock of the league now. Give me a break. You guys can't get anything right down there in Dallas. Yeah, I'm telling you. But let's get to some of the meat of this, because here's where we get a little into. This is where Tina's going to probably implode a little bit, but it's okay.
No,
I know. I'm just playing. No, but okay. So look,
I got my hand on the dump button. Go ahead.
Right, dump button. Yeah, dump button. Yeah, she already said shit, right? Like, go ahead, Tina. But anyways, but all right. So as we know, the Bears, we got Ben Johnson, right? Got a head coach. Hired Antoine Randall as the assistant coach, wide receivers coach. Brought in Dennis Allen as a defensive coordinator, and then in what I thought was kind of an interesting move, considering. Nobody knew a lot, probably outside of Tina, about Mr. Declan Doyle, their tight ends coach, who's now our offensive coordinator. So, Tina, I'm going to go to you first with this one.
Oh,
what do we know about Declan? He's going to be the OC. Yes. He is the offensive coordinator for Los Chicago Bears. So, Tina, I'm going to ask you. I don't know much about Doyle, except for the rumor going around Chicago that he's Mike Ditka's nephew, which I don't know if you've read that. I don't know if he is or not. I can't tell. These stories are all coming from all sides, but Tina, give us anything on Declan Doyle that you have. What do you say? What do you know?
Is he going to be the OC?
Yes, Declan Doyle. My understanding is he's the offensive coordinator.
Wow.
I didn't know who he was when he was the tight ends coach.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Like,
but
all of us, like, we're getting hit up by our Chicago Bear fans, friends, and they're like, "Who is this guy?" And I'm like, Google him. You'll know more than I do.
Right. No, I thought I would ask. You're hilarious. That's the best. See, now, I don't know if that scares me, it gives me hope, or does whatever, because it's like, I don't know.
When we were doing this, besides my initial reaction, which was, I don't know about this one, Nick, I reached out to this one over here and said, okay, like, what's going on? You know, Sean pointed out, Ben Johnson's, he has more, because he's a tight ends coach. Ben Johnson has the tight ends involved a lot more.
Yes.
Like, our tight ends at Denver were essentially like, if they were blocked, they blocked and maybe caught a 5-yard pass.
Yeah.
There was a couple of good ones, but our tight ends are not Gronk. They're not Kelsey. They're not that kind of thing. They're very, like, low-key. Like, we couldn't get Greg Dulcich to do anything. And,
right.
Like, we ended up
flowing hair.
Who's the guy we traded to Seattle?
Noah Fant.
Noah Fant. That's all again on the guy that ended up at the Jets' fault. That's his fault. But like, our tight ends, like, maybe he'll be great. I hope he is really good for you guys.
So do I. But yes.
But it was just funny. Everybody's like, "Who is this guy?" And I'm like, "Look him up."
Yeah, no, well, because I mean, I just thought maybe you know, being a Broncos fan, you probably heard the name or something, you know, like tight ends coach, whatever. But yeah, no, but he has been hired as the offensive coordinator, so I'll be interested to see how him and Johnson and then work with Antoine Randall, who's the receivers coach, and see what these three can come up with to get production out of it.
Why did you make him? I
No,
thought
say what you're gonna say.
when Tina messaged me, I thought he was going to be a tight ends coach. So that's why. Yeah, the OC. Why wouldn't you make Antoine Randall L the OC?
Okay, that was actually, honestly, not gonna lie, that was my first question as well.
Yeah.
You brought in he's the assistant coach, so why don't you just make him the OC? But
Right.
they didn't. He's the wide receiver. Well, I guess maybe he really wants him to work with the wide receivers, and he's got a great plan that we don't know about, which I'm hoping is the case. Because I thought it was a little, like Declan Doyle. Like, where'd he come from? Like, again, outside of being a tight ends coach, you're like, now you're the OC. Okay, great. So yeah, I'm interested to see. Go ahead, Tina. Yes.
Well, I was going to say, like, you messaged me about that, and then I go on my phone like 15 minutes later, and the guy that was our passing coordinator is interviewing with the Detroit Lions, and I was like, what the hell's going on here?
Yeah.
Now,
Well, no, Tina's losing it. Well, I mean,
was concerned that this was Davis Webb, who was our quarterbacks coach, and I was like, oh, no,
Yeah,
I don't want that guy
like,
going in.
Don't do that, right? Don't do that.
But he's not. It's the passing coordinator.
Okay.
So he's going to Detroit, and Sean and I kind of went back and forth on this. It's like our two teams came kind of out of nowhere, and the coaches, the under coaches, did really well with the teams, and so teams that are losing good people like Detroit or like the Bears with Ben, they're gonna try and grab these guys and see if they can pull them somewhere else.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, I'll be interested to see, especially with Detroit too, like replacing all those guys who have left. What does Detroit do? And keep that ball rolling. Because again, we all know what they have in Detroit. That team was killer this year, even though they lost to Sean's Commanders. They had a great year. Everything improved. Sounds like they have a plastic company. So yeah, hey, let's go shopping at Declan Doyle. All right, there you go.
Declan Doyle.
Seriously, I thought this guy was like a distant relative of the guy that wrote the Sherlock Holmes books.
You're hilarious, Sir Arthur Cannon. But
Doyle.
That's right. There it is. I love it. Yes, yes, folks.
I got my smart guy joke in. There we go.
A literary reference on the Roundtable. That is correct.
Let's go.
Sir Arthur Cannon Doyle. I love it. But real quickly, let's get to this last bit here in the coaches, and we'll move on. So that only leaves one job open, guys. The New Orleans Saints, which, Andy, you see them twice a year in your little division there.
Yeah, I'm mad they didn't go after Brian Schottenheimer.
Right, yeah, right. That would have been great.
2 guaranteed wins a year for us.
Exactly. No, I'm with you on that.
Sorry, Nicole.
But my thing is they're bringing in, obviously they can't do it now. I assume he wouldn't do it because the Super Bowl is upon us. But Kellen Moore is apparently going to be interviewing for that job there in.
Oh, he can go too. I'd love to see him on the sidelines clapping while we running him up and down the field.
But yeah, what do you guys think of that? Kellen Moore, OC for the Eagles currently. Because again, McCarthy, as we mentioned, is without a job. I mean, does New Orleans? I mean, I thought they were interviewing him as well, but
nah, man,
Kellen,
you saw the video I sent to the chat the other day. Dallas right now is where head coaches' careers go to die.
Well, the thing is, why some of those guys probably shouldn't have been coaches to begin with. Like I get at the time bringing in Parcells, but that didn't really work out because again, Parcells, is not going to take Jerry's crap, and he didn't, so he was gone. Then you made Jason Garrett the coach. I mean, like Chad Gailey was the coach at one point, and Jason Garrett, and then fine, you brought in McCarthy because again, it's a name probably, and you thought okay, but even still, then the guy has a great record in the regular season, can't win a damn playoff game to save his soul, and then now you go to Brian. So I mean, come on, like what are you doing in Dallas? Like what is?
Now I will say Dan Quinn worked, and he worked in Washington. So there's one coach that did.
But Dan Quinn didn't Dan Quinn step in after his predecessor got kicked out?
He was DC. I don't think he was a head coach.
He was a head coach.
Okay.
Yeah, he was a head coach.
Well, that's different because that's different. Coordinators, that's a whole different ballgame. Yeah. But look at the head coaching record. Who was that said? Who's Majada? Who's TJ? Who's your mama? That
TJ,
guy.
Who's your mama? Yeah.
He spit fire. I was like, damn, I hadn't thought about that. But he's right. Like everybody has been a head coach for the most part. Going all the way back to, even Jimmy Johnson. Jimmy Johnson was a good coach. He's like, you know what? I don't even want to coach no more. I'm going to be on TV.
Well, I mean, that's what happens in Jerry's world.
Yeah.
And then you bring in Barry Switzer, who, fine, he wins the championship with the team that Jimmy had, fine. And then what happened after that? Nothing. Haven't been back since. So, yeah, that was a great move there, Jerry.
They really should change the name to Arlington Stadium, the house that Jimmy built. That's what they should name it. That would really make Jerry mad.
That would never happen.
Yeah, because he would put Jerry instead of Jimmy.
Right, he would just that's not going to work.
And that's all he cares about. So as far as the Saints update that I got, because another guy that was interviewing for that job was Cliff Kingsbury. He decided to stay in Washington. Thank God.
Yeah, big bone in Washington.
That was huge. But to Tina's point, I mean, that's the only part, the negative part of success. Once you start winning, and Handy, you know this with the Bulldogs. Once you start winning, all of a sudden, all your coaches get poached.
They got our OC and our DC.
Right.
Yeah, hey, the Lions. No. Are there any of the Lions coaches left except for Dan Campbell?
No. No, I mean, again, you lost not the major ones. You lost your DC, you lost your OC, you lost, Antoine, you lost your Antoine Randall L. I mean, they lost 4 or 5 people now to coaching changes. So, I mean, it's definitely going to be a new day in Detroit with, outside of Dan Campbell. You're going to get a whole new coaching staff. See how everybody responds to that. Well, I think that's enough of the coaching carousel for today, boys and girls. We've spent a good amount of time on it, but again, wanted to go through all that just to keep you up to date on what's happening. Again, only one opening remains, and it's New Orleans Saints, so we will be keeping our eyes peeled for that. We're going to go ahead and take a quick break and come on back. Please don't go anywhere.
Best I can put it. And each week I look for something that's decent, and for once the defense was pretty good this week. So on to whoever wants.
I just want to sing in the arms of the angel. I just want to isolate you on the screen and play Sarah McLachlan and go, for the price of an offensive line, you too can make a Broncos fan happy. In the arms of the angel. Anyway, Delilah.
Yes,
why do they let me out of the house? Why do they let me on the internet?
We're trying to figure that out, Handy. But yes, no.
I mean, you see my furrow. I got my middle age. I'm starting to get my middle age the furrow in the middle. I'm like, just what? Why did I say that? I go back and watch stuff and go, where the hell did that come from?
Well, it's just
classic.
It's you, buddy. Right? That's just your mind works in mysterious ways. That's all. It's just My
mama had a name for that. You talk too damn much. Be quiet.
Well, okay, Run DMC. You never shut up.
Well, I think that's a problem all of us have.
I think we all have diarrhea of the mouth at times, so that's not just you, buddy. That's all of us, right? We all stuff just starts spewing out, and then you just can't stop it. It just keeps going, and then
that was the song of my tribe, and you are my people.
Right, you are my man. Alrighty. So, as you know, there were 2 championship games this past weekend. I'm going to save Sean the heartbreak for now. We'll talk about the other game first. The AFC Championship game, of course, was a rematch that we all heavily anticipated. And we know the result once again, ladies and gentlemen. Los Chiefs de Kansas City come out on top of the old Buffalo Bills, and as much as Josh Allen was trying to will his team to a victory, it was all not to be, as once again, Tina's favorite quarterback, Kermit the Frog, and his band of merry Muppets won again, 32-29. Okay, let's just get into this real quickly. Handy, I'm going to start with you. No, because, again, 4th time now they've lost to Kansas City in the playoffs, right? There was 3 previous matchups. Now this was number 4, so now they're 0-4. Does this come on, Handy? Let's talk about it. Does this curse get broken ever? Like, is this one of those things where it's just one of those teams just can't beat that team no matter what happens in the postseason? Well, give me your impressions of the game and what you think about all
this. The biggest problem that I saw with this game on Sunday was Josh Allen suffered from a case of Jerry Jonesism. He had to be the guy to make things happen. Every time they went down and the announcers are calling it, now I know the players couldn't hear it on the field. It's like, well, KC's figured out that he likes to go left. Hut. Josh Allen goes to the left. After you've done, you know what I'm saying? Like, I was a scrawny little kid. I joke about how I was a scrawny little kid with ears that stuck out like a Volkswagen 74 Volkswagen riding down the street. Because the hinges, they used to basically just come out like airplane wings. And I had a really long head and buck teeth, and I was goofy looking, and my eyebrows grew in all kinds of goofy. If I ever find the picture, you guys will never stop laughing.
But wait, you said you were goofy looking? Has that changed? I don't think it has, but all right. Sorry. Did I say that out loud? Damn. See, there I go. The diarrhea of the mouth. What'd I tell you? This stuff, it comes
You
out.
see me look. You see me looking at you right now, don't you, Nicholas? Anyway, as I was saying,
go back here.
there was a kid that used to pick on me. And after a couple of times of him picking on me, because don't you be walking down my hall when I'm walking down the hall, I would stick my head out the door before I went down the hall. I wanted no parts of this kid. He was like 6'8", 12" in the 3rd grade. I don't know what the hell his problem was, what his mama was feeding him, but I just did not mess with the kid at all. And Josh Allen is like, if you run into a brick wall and you knock out a tooth, you're not going to do that again. I mean, unless you're from Florida, because they like the stuff, they like to cook stuff. But that's they like to cook stuff and fight alligators. But
there it is.
Yes, say no to that nasty stuff, people. Drugs. Say no to the nasty stuff, kids. Anyway, if you run into a wall a couple of times, you don't run into the wall anymore. It's just like your parents would let you touch the hot stove. You hot. Mama said, "Who told you to touch the stove?" Exactly. You don't do it anymore. Josh Allen tried that. And every time he get down there, I'm gonna make it work this time. I got it. I can imagine the faces of the other 10 dudes in the huddle going, man, they look, every time you get down there, they put Debo on that side. Why are you going that way? Run the ball on. James Cook did not have the best game in the world. It wasn't his best game, but James Cook was out there hustling. Why did you not? There we go. It's just like Pete Carroll not giving the ball to Beast Mode. Why didn't you give the damn ball to James Cook? He wanted to be the guy to make it happen because it's become personal for him. But sometimes you got to understand, you have other people that can help you achieve your goal. Sir, just saying, looking at you, sir. And his wife probably hyped him up, right? But on the way to the stadium, you going to win this game, baby. And he's like, you damn right I am. Yeah. No, you're not.
Married.
Engaged. He got engaged. I'm sorry. Yeah, she hyping him up. She was riding back in the car, riding back home in the car, talking about, I dressed up and got cute for this. Maybe I should reconsider this engagement. Anyway, I say that out loud. But the real deal is that all jokes aside, Josh Allen has started to take this so personal that he won't be satisfied until he's the guy that makes the win happen.
Yeah,
and that's something that he's got to learn to get by. He's going to have to learn to lean on his teammates, because if that's the case, carry your ass out there, hike the ball to yourself, and then throw the ball and run up on it and catch it. Who needs the other 10 players?
No.
I'm done.
No, that's not. I mean, I would tend to agree with you with a lot of what you said. Tina, how about you? Your impressions of the game? I know how much you love.
Just kind of go off what Handy was saying. Like, James Cook, did he even break 50 yards in the first half?
Nope.
But as soon as they put him in, he was breaking things left and right. Their run defense did not have an answer for him. So why? Everybody's talking like, oh, the head coach will be back. It'll be fine. It'll be fine. My answer, if I was the owner, I'd be pulling that guy in my office and go, why the bleep did you not put Cook in the first half?
Let Cook.
Let Cook. Yeah. Like, that's the whole thing. I mean, also, I'll just say that I'm going to have to get a refund from my voodoo priestess because the voodoo doll didn't work.
I don't practice Santeria. I ain't got no crystal. But never mind. All right, there it is.
All jokes aside, I mean, right. Kermit was Kermit. He did what he needed to do, and the team they're good. They're really good. But again, it came down to 3 points. The Bills almost got it. It just wasn't quite enough. So I will leave my thoughts on the refs.
Question.
No, I got you. Go ahead, Handy. Yes.
How many times did the Bills try for the 2-point conversion during this game?
3? Oh, it was 2. It was 2 for
3.
sure. I thought it was a third one, but it could have 2 at least. I don't
Yeah.
know.
It was 3.
They should have gone for the kick on that first one. They shouldn't have gone for that 2. And
Exactly.
That made a difference. So.
If they
Yeah.
had gone for if they had kicked the extra point, it could have taken this game
Thank
into
you, Catherine.
overtime.
Yeah.
Feel me?
They could have. Yep.
Nope.
In the overtime? Oh, you mean the field goal? You mean
On the field goal, yeah.
Yeah.
Field goal,
Yeah.
2 field
Yeah.
goals instead of the 2 extra points, it would have been tied.
Oh,
Exactly.
I suppose you're right on that point, right? I didn't.
Yeah.
That didn't register, but yeah, that makes absolute sense. If you
And-
just pick,
Nope, I'm gonna take this ball and I'm gonna run it over the left tackle and they're gonna let me score.
Yeah. And also, I said this to Nick, you weren't on quite yet, but even though I tried to convince Sean that somehow he lost a corner during his game,
oh,
losing their veteran corner, the Bills losing their corner, that was not a thing you're going to be able to come back from. Mahomes was, and his wide receivers were just ripping that poor kid to shreds. Like,
he was.
it just wasn't going to. That was it. Second half, when that happened, I'm like, all right, there we go. I'm going to go start taking down my Christmas decorations.
Right. I think Kat echoes all of our sentiments. I think as much as I don't want to hate on anybody.
And that's it. Everybody's just tired of it.
Yeah, tired of the Chiefs. But Sean, again, I know you were watching this game, my friend. I mean, but is this just a case, honestly, like Kansas City just the better team? Like, you can say whatever you want about the refs and all this other crap, but when it comes down to it, this team always seems to come through in the clutch, regardless of the situation. So, I mean, is this just one of those teams that somebody one day might find the formula, but right now it doesn't look like anybody can? What do you say?
Well, yeah, right now this is a Tom Brady, Peyton Manning thing all over again. Tom is the guy. Peyton might get over once or twice, but he can't seem to get over year after year. And we look, I agree with the points. We got to remember this game. They still had a shot.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That deep pass to Kincaid. If he catches that, things might be different. Obviously, you guys are talking about the 2-point conversion. And I've talked to Tina about that defense of the Chiefs and how solid they are. But outside of James Cook, who had 85 yards and 2 touchdowns, who else who notably are we talking about on Buffalo? And I think that
Well, Hollins, he had the 2 good catches, the 1 touchdown and the 1 30, 40 yards.
But I look at Hollins like I look at De'Ami Brown for Washington. He's playing good right now, but he's not Diggs. He's not somebody that we all fear and things like that.
Correct.
But even still, even after all of that, and even the refs, even past all that, they still had a shot. And it comes down to those moments, and I think that's the difference between the Chiefs and the Bills. And maybe it is the curse, but some reason the Chiefs just find a way, maybe with a little bit of help from their friends, the refs, but they find a way to just do that little bit extra. And I do agree with Handy that I do think that Josh Allen was pushing a little bit. I think he was trying his damnedest to be like, oh, I'm doing this, but I don't know if they didn't give it to Cook just because that wasn't in the offense. The Chiefs defense, when I look at the Chiefs defense coming into this game, they said, hey, we got to take out Josh. But if you take out Josh, who's the next guy you got to take out? And that's Cook. And I think Buffalo kind of did what the Ravens did last year. They all know that everybody knows they're going to run the ball. They all know that their running game is legit. So let's do the opposite. Let's try to trick them. But if it's not working, when you go to what do I say, Handy? When you go to the dance, you got to dance with the one that brung you. Josh Allen brung you, and Cook has been on fire in this postseason. You got to give him the rock more often than that. 85 yards and 2 touchdowns looks nice overall, but that running the ball and having a consistent running game, as we've seen with Philly, that takes the other team off the ball. Off the field. The only way you're going to beat a Chiefs team is by keeping Mahomes and them boys on the sidelines.
Right.
But that defense, they don't always let that happen. I don't want to say cursed, but I think you're right, Nick. I think you just have to. When you look at these 4 losses, and then you look at the 4 from them before, you what else can you say?
And the messed up part is You know what? You might be on something. You know that whole. I mean, I don't understand string theory, but I've come up with my own string theory. You know that dumb look that Eli would get on his face when he would throw an interception or fumble a ball. You ever notice that every time they missed that 2-point conversion, Josh Allen had that wide-eyed, open-eyed, open mouth. What happened? Look.
Mm-hmm.
Well, because he realized you got stopped. And that's,
Yeah.
and that's the thing too, like you said, going to the well maybe one too many times with that. Like you said, it's not like you fooled anybody. It's like, okay, they're on the one. I guess Josh is going to go to the left. Like, again, if you scout properly and you know what I'm saying, and you have good coaches and you watch tape and all this, you're going to see that stuff and you're going to know what he's going to do. And again, they did, because honestly, they had that snuffed out. As soon as he hiked the ball, it's like, boom, they knew it. And they didn't go nowhere. Like, that was just.
They should have added something to it, like a streaking receiver,
yeah,
anything like that.
something.
But the other part of this thing was third downs. I mean, obviously we know they were 4 of 6 on fourth downs, but it's because they were 5 of 14 on third downs. If you cannot sustain a drive and keep Mahomes off the field, I can't help you on that. We know what he does when he's on the field, so you got to keep him off, and they weren't able to do that.
Nope. No, I mean, that's 100% true, and it just, again, they proved it again. That's all. I mean, let's just be honest. Kansas City, when it came down to it, it's 29-29. You need a drive. They got one. They kicked their field goal and held them on defense. End of story. Like, that's, forget everything else. That's really what it came down to. And again, came down to a last possession, and like you said, Buffalo just couldn't get it done. And there you have it. So again, the Chiefs. Yes, Tina, go ahead.
What Sean was saying too about the Chiefs, but the Tom Brady and the Peyton Manning thing is also with the Chiefs. Remember, like, the reason they've been able to get into the playoffs every year is, like the Patriots, they had no one in their division that was really being what's the word I'm having
competitive.
Competitive, yeah. Now it might start to change. It's looking like the AFC West is going to become a different animal, that can change things.
Let's go Broncos.
Yeah, and also, just a little stat for you.
Yes.
You know the only team that Tom Brady has not been able to beat in the playoffs?
Who?
The Broncos. The Broncos.
Oh yeah.
Denver, yes.
Yeah, I saw something about that.
Usually them or
call the National Guard.
Yeah. Right. I saw something about that year that Champ Bailey went into the playoffs.
He has a losing record against. So.
Oh yeah.
Hey, that's a good stat, Tina. Thank you for pulling that one out. See, that's it. You learn stuff watching us, folks. You can learn stuff. Just pay attention.
But yeah, I think it has to do with how the divisions are set up too. Yeah. Right now, they've been able to run through. They get that first round bye every time because the AFC West is horrible and hasn't been able to figure out how to beat them. Now this year, especially us and the Chargers, we were close. We were almost
you were a blocked field goal away, and
in a score. So I mean, we would have technically beat them twice, but there was that blocked field goal. But I have selective memory on that.
Fair enough. I don't remember it either.
Did you say blocked field goal or black field goal?
Wow! Look at this.
I did run over.
I was gonna wait for the explanation if it was the second one. I was like, what exactly is that? They celebrate by doing the gritty while drinking Hennessy and Cisco. I don't know. I'm not sure.
Oh my goodness! Come on, and eating ribs. What are we talking about? But look, so Buffalo did come through the wild card. I don't think there's anything that can help Buffalo.
No.
I really don't.
I mean the wild card. Like back then, like 9-7, like the Giants did that year.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Because they literally that year they backed into the wild card.
Yeah,
and they beat some team from Georgia. That team from Georgia didn't play as good as the other one. They beat some team from Georgia. Hey, look, Atlanta was 13-3 that year, and Eli, I just pooped with the Eli poop face Manning, and the 9-7 or 8-8, whatever the Giants were that year, beat us, and then went right down the road and beat Tom Brady.
Yep.
They almost beat him in the regular season that year.
Right,
So maybe Josh and the boys just need to just kind of ease up on the throttle a little bit, back into the wild card, and then maybe they'll get them. That's how the dynasty was. Hey, look, you know what? That would make a great anime story. I will teach you the secrets.
Oh man! All right.
Taught by my brother forehead.
Okay. Now we're gonna move on. Now I think we got the point here. I think we're good. Let's go.
I got the hit, Nick. I'll shut up now.
That's all right. No, I love you, man. I love you. I told you, diarrhea of the mouth. It just comes out. It doesn't. I don't know where it's gonna go. What's gonna come out? Right. I don't. Yeah. But
the division. We all know the only thing that's going to stop the Chiefs is the AFC West, and once the AFC West comes back to dominance,
right? Exactly.
Because that's the only way. Well, yeah, that's true.
Burrow needs help.
Had he got in,
yeah.
Because he had an opportunity. Had he got in, maybe things are different.
Well, again, there's the conspiracy there that Kansas City just went, screw it, we'll play all the second and third stringers and let Broncos beat us, and we got to worry about Joe Burrow and the boys.
And
so.
Andy Reid gave us the bluept in the commercial. That whole game was a fumble.
Please don't say it.
Don't say it. Don't
I didn't.
do
I
it.
wasn't going. I did already.
Do it. Don't.
Sorry, Tina.
There it is. From Laruski Doo.
What the hell was that, Sean? Was you got Scooby Doo mixed up with Andy Reid?
Like me to do the hula?
There it is. Tina's dancing again. Here we go. We have descended into madness, folks. There it is. And on that note, we're definitely moving on. NFC Championship game time, of course. Now again,
next. Move on. Next.
Sean would like it. Unfortunately, there's not another game to recap, Sean. We have to recap this one. Hold on. I know. It was faithful. Oh, he took himself out of there. Look, he took himself out. All right. But yes, we all saw what happened. The Philadelphia Eagles beat the Washington Commanders to get back to that Super Bowl, and not knowing that they're going to have the rematch with old Chiefs from 2 years ago and that exciting 38-35 game we had just a couple years ago. But, Sean, let's just get to it. Like, when we talked with you last week, and I guess we all knew it, like you said, the elephant in the room, what was one of the things that the Commanders had to do to have a chance to win this game? And what did they do on the first drive of the game that the Eagles had? He runs for a 60-yard touchdown. And I'm not going to say at that point I lost hope, but I went, man, you can't keep doing that or this game's going to be over quick.
Nah, I lost hope in pregame when they kept saying, this is like a movie. And Saquon just keeps saying it's like a movie. And I'm going to bring a title to Philly. And his birthday is apparently on the Super Bowl.
Oh, is it really? Oh, there you go.
When I heard all that, I was like, oh, yeah, we're done. But that first run, and shout out to the play call, fake jet sweep. So you got the defense going one way, and then you pitch it out the other way. We still had opportunities. We had 2 or 3 guys that could have made the tackle.
Right, you could have tackled him. I mean, it
didn't happen. So once you see that happen, and this is, mind you, we got the ball first. And we had an 18-play, 7-minute drive.
I want to talk to you about that. I want to ask you about that because you went for it twice on 4th down during that drive, I believe it was. Yep. And then you decide when you needed 2 yards to then just kick the field goal. Did you agree with that decision? Like, were you fine with it at that point? Or did you think, man, we've been gambling this whole time, the 4th downs have worked? I mean, what did you think of that?
I wanted us to kick the field goal at the second 4th down because I think it was like 4th and 7 or something. It was a little longer in the second one.
It was a little longer, yes, correct.
But then at that point, I too was like, well, you just went for it on 4th. Like, what do you just go for it again? Like, what are we doing? But at this point, I mean, obviously, the time of possession, we had 7 minutes off the clock. They had been sitting down. I mean, it was a great first drive.
It was.
Now,
100%.
I wish we would have scored a touchdown, but this was indicative of this team the whole year. We can drive down the field, but we at times have trouble when it gets into the red zone and things like that. Yeah. We lived by the sword. We died by the sword. We went 4 on 4th. All those times we didn't. We kicked the field goal, whatever. But still, even if we score a touchdown, even if we go for 2, none of that matters when 18 seconds later, Saquon is spinning and running down the field, and then he's telling his guys, calm down because I got more coming. That's when I was like, okay. All right.
No,
I mean, it just gets comfortable.
No, and that was the thing, like watching it, like I'm sitting here and I'm going, wow, this is starting to get out of hand now. Like things are starting to just, and you could just see, like, watching it just, the fumble, I believe it was on the punt, the guy muffs the ball, and and you're just like, okay, great, give the Eagles the ball again. They didn't, I mean, 7 rushing touchdowns
Mhm.
for the Eagles in this game, and you just go, in the words of my Italian great grandmother, "Madonna me!" Like, what in the world is going on here? Like, what are we?
But the
7 with you?
problem wasn't even with the 7 touchdowns. Like, we could have overcame that. But
Yeah.
if you pay all this money to get a guy from New Orleans that's supposed to shut down the opposing team's top receiver,
Yeah.
and he's just getting bullied all over the field.
Bro, was he ever? Yeah, no.
AJ Brown was just
Yeah.
like, it was terrible. So
No, I get it. Well, Handy, yeah. See, we're gonna give Sean a break for a minute and let him collect his thoughts, Handy, because you like to talk about this. So what the heck? Let's get into it. You're basically Georgia defense there in Philadelphia. Actually, seemed like they were playing a pretty good game, Mr. Handy. What do you got to say about your? Yeah, let's talk about your defense there. Although minus the Kobe Dean who got hurt, but well, what you think of your Georgia boys there? They're basically the Eagles' defense.
I'm listening.
Right.
I'm only here so I won't get fined.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Sure. Whatever you say, pal.
So, being realistic, for Philadelphia, the fact, and I mean, they did it over the course of a couple of seasons. The fact that they just went and systematically said they made a decision. We want all of those guys. We're going to get them, and they drafted. I think they drafted Big Baby and the Kobe after the 2022 season, and then they got Nolan.
They were the first pieces, I think, right? Yeah.
And then they got Nolan and the rest of them in the following season.
Yeah, Keely Ringo, yeah.
And that, I mean, you saw how they did when they were in college. It's like they hadn't missed a beat. Unfortunately for the Commanders, and Sean, I picked the Commanders. I love you. I picked the Commanders. No, I don't want to hear it. 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 You are in enemy territory. You are an enemy with your daggone Georgia Bulldogs. Wait a minute. Hold on. How you gonna hold? Never mind. I'm gonna leave that alone. That hurt. That hurt my heart.
It hurt right here. Oh, my chest. It hurt right here. Oh man.
They came to play. They dialed it up. They just said let's take it back to Sanford, and they did what they did. And
exactly, Tina. Just
twisting the knife. Twist.
That too, Brute or Handy?
Wait a minute, Sean. I have been a part of this family for about 4.5, 5 years, and how many times, Your Honor, Exhibit A, here's the video collage of how many times Sean Spencer dropped a 28-3 on me while I was making a soliloquy. Wait a minute. I have only done it once or twice. All the rest of these people have hit you with that. I have not done it that many times. It's a short soliloquy. It's a short soliloquy, but still. I've been hit with it. Like, and I'm not even trying to drive because I wanted the Commanders to win. I did. Even with the boys playing, I wanted the Commanders to win because I figured
as he shows us the championship trophies, he's like, "Yeah, I wanted the Commanders to win, but all these
he does have a trophy. I was going to say
banners,
but still, my point in this is, I see what Philly's working with, and Philly will be back. I want this to be the Commanders year because I suffered. Before the Dogs were doing their thing, before all my boys got drafted and went to play in Philadelphia, I suffered right alongside Commanders fans, Washington football team fans, Redskins fans in the DMV, watching week after week as stuff just continued to happen and how the fans were just like, God, I just want to I better not see Dan. I mean, folks were serious. Like, I better not see Dan Snyder in the street. It's on site. Like, it was that kind of hate for Dan Snyder. While I don't necessarily consider myself a Commanders fan, I consider myself an honorary part of the extended family, so to speak. Does that make sense?
Well, yeah.
I don't know. After this game, it might have been revoked. We're going to have to go to the committee and talk to them.
Right.
Okay.
Well,
you know what? If it was the Falcons, I'd let you have that.
Right. Well, that's how it goes, right, Andy? Because if you can't be an athlete, you can be an athletic supporter, if you know what I'm saying.
Oh,
come on. I had to throw something.
It only took us an hour to get to a jockstrap joke. Okay.
Yeah, well, you know, hey,
But
we got it in, right? Just under an hour. Look at that. Not too bad.
yeah.
Sorry,
unless,
I couldn't.
unless you're Goldberg in the longest yard, then you can't get it all in. You have to get the special one. Anyway,
There it is. There it
moving
is.
along.
Hey now. Whoa. Hey. Oh. Well then, it's
down under again. Like,
yeah. Tina, that's a hard act to follow, Tina. But your impressions of this game
Oh my
here?
God. Did you really just never mind?
What I do? What I do?
That's a hard act to follow.
It's I
just kept it going.
sorry. I told you this. You never know where this show is going. You know this. What are we doing? I don't know.
Oh, I'm wondering if I should even be on here too.
Tina's face.
Too much testosterone for you right now, Tina? Right, too much testosterone, Tina? Sorry. Usually Delilah evens that out, like, you know.
I have no problem with it.
I know you
Oh
don't.
no, Delilah would be falling out of her chair right now.
Yeah, she probably would have. That's very true.
Privately, I'd be with Handy, like, here you go, here's another one, here's another one.
Right, exactly. Yeah, you're just as encouraging. What are you talking about?
Man.
Lord. You know, yeah, again, like, it looked like they were doing well. They had a really long first drive. I think they were holding their own for a while there, even after Saquon kind of ran it up a little bit. Looked like you guys were coming back. But yeah, I mean, your guys' receivers just really couldn't get anywhere. Ertz made a few plays that I thought were pretty good, but yeah, once it kind of got at the end of the third quarter, I was like, yeah, this one's over.
Yeah, by that time, it was like,
well, the thing that kind of got me was didn't Washington score first coming into the second half?
No, so that's what I was about to say. So we can't wait at halftime. It was 34-23. They got the ball back after half. We stopped them, and we had an opportunity to drive down the field score, and we had a 2nd and 8, and that's when a gentleman by the name that used to be referred to as Big Baby sacked us for about a 7 or 8 yard loss.
Yeah.
Actually, it was about a 12-yard loss because
it was a little longer than that, right? It was like one of those, like, okay, we lost about 30 yards here.
And then after that, it was over and done with.
Well, no, I'm talking about coming straight out of half, because at halftime it was 27-15.
No, Washington got the ball.
And Washington got the ball, and I thought
Washington they started the game.
First.
Philadelphia got the ball. The ball.
Philly got it.
Okay, I got it backwards. My bad.
No, you're good.
The game was not coming out of the half. Yeah, there was a little bit. What was it? What did I say? 27-15. Okay, so it was about 12-point lead, but it was not insurmountable at that point.
Right. Oh no, yeah. When it got up to be 34-23, it wasn't insurmountable. But number one, the same things that happened with Detroit happened to us. You can't have 4 or 5 turnovers and expect to win a ball game.
You guys, yeah.
You know simple. Why you joking? That seemed to be the rule of thumb. I mean, the Ravens had turnovers out there. All of a sudden, they couldn't hold on to the ball.
Well, right, and even coming into this game, we had not had a turnover yet in the playoffs. Right, you know what I mean? Right, so, and look, we all looked at that Lions game, and not a lot of people picked us. I'm not going to lie, I had questions, but the injury issues, the way how hot we were playing, we did not turn the ball over. Those things worked in our benefit. Everything that we did in this game worked against it. We weren't able to move the ball consistently. We did not have a running game. Jaden is solid, but all the issues that we knew about earlier in the year, the lack of having a number 2 wide receiver, the fact that our secondary is struggling, all those things reared their ugly head. I mean, I've been trying to dissect this and break it down, but there's sometimes when other teams, you give them more than one opportunity to beat you, more than one possession. Those 4 turnovers that we had led to 28 points for the other team, and that's the game right there.
Mm.
You know?
No, that's 100%
perfect, and they had to take advantage of the swings. So yeah.
No, because that was going to be my big thing. Like, again, when you turn the ball over, it's one thing not a lot of times, but I mean, you could survive a turnover. But when the other team takes every turnover you give them and turns it into points, you're not going anywhere, pal. Again, you saw it again. Detroit and the Commanders the week before. Mm-hmm. The Washington took advantage of the turnovers, and I think it was like a 21-point swing or 21-point swing, and you're just like, that's your ball game. You know, and that's exactly what happened here, and it just You can't, because like you said, you guys were playing mistake-free football going up into that game, and it's like, and that's I think why a lot of people were encouraged and thought, man, it's a good, like you said, it's a good story. It's kind of like the movie. You got the rookie quarterback. He's leading this team, into big bad Philly on a Sunday, blah 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 blah. And that great first drive, like you said. I mean, I know it only resulted in a field goal, but you're like, man, you took so much time off the clock, yada yada. I mean, the whole thing. You're like, this is a good start for Washington, and then the wheels came off after, I think, started to come off a little bit in the third quarter, like you said, and then by that time you're like, no, I don't see them coming back. This is pretty much done, but we'll watch the rest of the game and see how it plays out. But again, so now, as you guys know, our Super Bowl is set, but we are going to, so true. Thank you, Nicole. I appreciate you chiming in. Thank you so much. Yes, as you know, there is a Super Bowl coming up in 2 weeks, and we now know who our participants are. As Gronk said in the commercial, Super Bowl licks, as he liked to say, LIX, licks, Super Bowl licks is coming up. So, yeah, just continue the theme. I'm just going to go off the deep end. We're just there. I'm going to keep going. Don't worry about it. We're good.
And we're back, ladies and gentlemen.
Exactly
Right, correct.
Demographic is
100%. Oh, did I do that again? Okay, sorry. And we're back. No, but
you're right, Tina. He does.
We are next Tuesday. We're going to do our big Super Bowl extravaganza. So we're not going to preview the game today. We are going to wait till next Tuesday and do our whole big Super Bowl show. We'll have some trivia. We'll have some facts. We'll have some stuff. We'll do the whole thing. And then, of course, we'll give our predictions and tell you what we think could happen in the Super Bowl rematch coming up. But let's take another quick break here. This is something that Mr. Handy put together, so we're going to show this. We'll be back in about a minute 22 with our last segment of the show. Here you go. Enjoy this.
Mr. McDowell.
What is it?
Sir, I was wondering if you happened to catch the professional football contest on television last night.
I didn't.
Oh, it was most exhilarating. The Giants of New York took on the Packers of Green Bay, and in the end, the Giants won by kicking an oblong ball made of pigskin to a big H. It was a most ripping victory.
Son, I'm only going to tell you this once.
Yes.
If you want to continue working here, stay off the drugs.
Yes.
Yes, of course. That is our guy Handy doing some of his finest work. Hey, I just had to show that again. We showed it, I think, earlier this year, late last year, whatever it was. But I just had to show that again because it kind of makes me giggle. I love the fact, just saying, that both characters had the Argyle sweater. So I just thought that was a great thing. Like, I appreciated the,
I noticed that too.
Hey, man, hey, leave my hair alone, man. That was my COVID grow out. That was my COVID grow out. I was like, I wonder if I let it grow, would any of it grow back? And that was, this was all just like blinding. I'm sorry, but I've been watching that movie now for damn near 40 years, and the big H, that big H, that always gets me. They kicked the ball through a big H.
Yeah. you gotta love it. Right, ball.
And then it actually happened. That was the crazy part.
That was the the Giants of Green. You gotta love it, right? And it came true.
God. Oh God! I remember because that's in the sunroom in the back of the house, and that was where we had our little work from home set up.
Okay.
And I was sitting there working, and I got done, and I was like, "Ooh!" And I jumped up and I ran in the bedroom, and my wife looked at me like, "What the hell is he doing?" And I come back out with the sweater on and the bow tie, and she's like, "Oh God, here we go!" And I set up the cameras and stuff, and yep, and that's what we got. I did bits where I did like whole Eddie Murphy's. I want the knife, please. The
jeez.
whole thing. It's on Facebook somewhere. They will live forever in perpetuity as long as we have an internet.
There you go. No,
So-
that's very true. That's very true. Well, again, folks, we thank everybody who's been in the comments. We had Nicole, Ben, a gentleman named Thomas. Thomas, thank you for tuning in. Kat chimed in today. Thank you, Kat, as well, for tuning in. We always appreciate everybody who pays attention to our madness. So thank you so much. As we say, we like to give you the football and the fun. So we're very lighthearted, if you can't tell. But we like to do our best to still give you some football and give you a little bit of ourselves. And that is what this last segment is always all about. Of course, it's one last thought. And this week, it's kind of I don't know, I always look for things just to show you a little bit about us and the things we like. So this week, our question is, what is the best vacation you've taken? And Sean, as our guest, we'll start with you, my friend. Have a good vacation you've taken, one that was memorable. I mean, it doesn't have maybe necessarily the best one or the most memorable or one you truly enjoyed. Give us your best vacation story, sir.
When I was younger, I mean, vacations were going to my parents' house or my grandparents' house, or my sister's in Maryland, New York, and stuff like that. So we really didn't take much. But when I want to say in 2014, my brother, who was in the Marines, who was stationed in Okinawa, Japan, came and moved to Hawaii, and he was stationed there, him and his wife and their kids. And so I had saved up money. I had paid off. I think I had paid off, finished paying off my school and everything, and I had saved up some money for a couple months and went and got the ticket and flew out there. Got a rental car, and it was a drop top. Not Camaro or Vet or something. I don't know cars like that, but it was blue. It was my color blue. It was beautiful. And I went to the island. I went over there and hung out with him, and it was something that I don't do because I'm very much a hermit, very much stay in my box doing all this. And I had a hotel out there. I got a hotel for myself. We went out a couple times,
Nice.
and it was the first time in my life that me and my brother had hung out as adults and actually got to get down and
chop it up, do whatever. Yeah.
Right. Like, I mean, hash things out. Like it was such a great time that I didn't know I needed, and went out there. I spent I think 4 or 5 days out there. And it was so out of the norm. So definitely things that I don't normally do. And it was just one of those experiences where I will always remember it. It was great. And who knows if I'll ever go back again or anything like that. But that was just something that, like, when I think about trips and stuff like that, I mean, I can always go to Chicago and meeting up with you guys, or eventually go to Oklahoma and meet up with, Handy and I met up at Old Shabeem's, in Fairfax.
Mhm.
But I've never been out of the country. So even Tim, when you talk about your trips, I'm just like, really?
Yeah, right. No,
So Hawaii was huge for me.
Yeah.
Hawaii
So going
is
out there,
it's completely.
Well,
Hawaii and Puerto Rico, even though they're part of the United States, they are completely different countries.
oh yeah.
Yeah, it sounds like
Now,
they're
I
different,
could say Puerto Rico as well, but
yeah.
I'll just leave that.
No, I'll just leave it. Yeah, we're good.
It is a different country. You go there, it's a completely different culture.
Oh yeah. Oh,
Like-
sure.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was not Honolulu, Handy. It was
Where were you at? Were you in
Not
Maui?
Waikiki.
I was the one that
Might have
asked.
been-
Were you up on the North Shore?
Oh yeah, might have been. I'll show you the pictures. I gotta say, it might have been
Which
Maui.
one the
is it-
island that Honolulu is on?
Yes.
Okay.
We
that's
saw the
Oahu.
stadium where they used to play the Pro Bowl. We saw that. We're not
That's
too far
Oahu.
from that. Yeah.
Okay,
That's
there you go.
Oahu.
Yeah.
Wow,
You were
very
probably
nice.
on the
Yes.
western side. I've been to Hawaii like 4 times now.
Right.
So
Yeah. And
Tina's
I-
our
I
expert
love-
traveler here, so yeah, like out of this group, yeah, I think Tina's traveling.
So I see here,
love Hawaii.
So- So Handy, it was on 7 o'clock on the dot of the dot.
Exactly.
Oh yeah. I definitely
Yeah.
stopped at a light.
If
I
you-
definitely stopped at a light. Like, yeah,
Right,
what up?
yeah.
man?
If you guys could see our private chat, you'd probably really realize how nuts we truly are with all of the stuff that we talk to each other about.
Oh,
during-
we are good. We are good
Yeah.
and crazy.
Yeah, for sure. Speaking of
Yeah,
good
the
and
last
crazy.
time I went to Hawaii, we got a convertible. It was one of those little Volkswagen convertibles.
Oh, okay.
And my mom
Okay.
and my aunt, and I'll send pictures on our little chat and everything. We didn't realize. I'm so lucky. I told everybody, like, you are no bigger than a carry-on. You can check the carry-on, but
Mhm.
no bigger than a carry-on. Because
Mhm.
trying to get the luggage in this itty bitty little car
Yeah, I
and
can
then
imagine.
driving down the Kamehameha Highway, going down, my mom's
Mhm.
sitting there, arms like this over the
Yep. Yeah.
luggage in the back.
There it is. Hoop, there it
And
is.
that random rain too. That just it's
Oh,
all
yeah,
beautiful,
yeah.
beautiful, and then whoosh.
And that's
Yep,
it.
Yeah.
Huh?
all of a sudden.
The floodgates open.
Yeah.
All right, Mr. Handy. How about you, sir? A memorable or favorite vacation of yours that you've taken?
The two favorite places that I have visited weren't vacations. They were courtesy of my job at the time, the one that I couldn't quit because, as long as you wear the green suit, you can't quit. I mean, you
There
can,
you
but then, but spending a year
Something
living
from that for you?
spending a year living in Korea was one of the most amazing experiences that I ever had in my life. The country is gorgeous. The food, the culture and the food have stuck with me for well over 30 years now. And then being a kid that only got to see the desert in Wile E. Coyote cartoons,
Right.
and then
Yeah.
B, watching the movies where it starts off with the desert with the mirages, and you hear the and then you hear and you hear the lady singing, and you see an inevitable picture of a Bedouin leading a camel. Even though
Right.
our reason for being there was not necessarily the friendliest,
Right.
just being able to wake up in the morning. One of the things that I would do when I wake up in the morning before I start going around and doing sick call on the guys was just stand out on the back of my vehicle and just look across the desert dunes in Kuwait. And it wasn't much to see. Way off in the distance, you see a Bedouin literally leading a herd of camel, but that was beautiful. But my most amazing vacation was getting to spend 3-4 weeks in France.
Oh,
And
okay. Okay.
I was on my honeymoon to another person that I was married to.
Okay.
And we went to Paris. Her godfather paid for us to go to Paris.
Ooh.
We
Godfather, huh?
We yeah.
Did you have
well,
to
yeah.
kiss the ring to get the trip? Did you have to come?
No, nothing like that. No
No.
guns.
Do you have a guy for that?
No guns. No cannoli.
He didn't
nothing
make
like
you an
that.
offer you couldn't refuse? Is that?
No, none of that. None
You
of
will
that.
take my goddaughter to Paris, France, or else I will take you. Never mind. Okay.
Never,
Did he look
never
like a
that.
little
Never.
mouse?
Yeah.
But it was really nice. We got to spend the first 2 nights in Paris, where I
Okay.
actually, believe it or not, had the absolute best Chinese food I've ever had. And I
Okay.
mean, ever. I've been on this earth over half a century. And then we spent 2 days in Paris, and then we went up to north of France to Brittany. And Brittany is a very small town on the northwestern shore facing the Atlantic.
By
And
Normandy. Yeah.
it's so far north that in the summertime the sun does not go down till well after 10 o'clock.
Oh, nice.
But because it's so far north, it's not god awful hot. It's absolutely perfect. You actually have to wear a windbreaker at night when the sun goes down. And it was during the World Cup.
Oh.
And so
Okay.
Brittany is an area where a lot of international travelers go, and there was a huge German contingent there. And Germany, this was the World Cup where Zizou Zidane headbutted the guy because he said something about his mom.
Oh, yeah.
That one. I was in Paris
Oh, look at that.
watching this happen, and the Germans went marching down the street and singing all their German beer songs, and they were flipping cars over in the traffic circle. And the view from the villa that we stayed in was gorgeous. You see sailboats out in the morning. The tide at high tide literally came up to the wall of the villa we were in, and when it went out, you could just walk down the steps right onto your own little private. It was gorgeous. Then we went back to Paris, and we saw all the Paris stuff that everybody goes
Well, the
to see.
Sorbonne, the Champs-Elysees, the Eiffel Tower, all that stuff,
Champs-Élysées.
right?
It must have been a hot commodity out there with all them Germans. 'Cause German women, they love a little chocolate. and they laughed.
Did I not mention that I was?
I know
was
you
on-
working. I'm
I
just
was
saying.
on-
I'm just making the statement.
I just-
I
I
was
not
on
mentioned
my
that?
honeymoon with my
Andy,
very French
I'm just
wife,
making the statement. I'm making the statement. That's all I'm saying.
and
Hey, believe.
I
Never mind, go ahead.
I am very fortunate that at this time the videos of the slingshot ride were not a big thing back then. I rode one of those slingshots, and I probably said a few things that
Yep.
none of y'all would ever let me live down.
Okay,
And
Fair
of course, your boy had to find a karaoke spot.
of course.
Mm-hmm.
And the only song they had in English the only songs they had in English that I knew was NSYNC, and they thought I was some kind of singer or something. Like, you are a professional singer? No, nope. I'm just. Nous avons trouvé un endroit à chanter karaoke.
You should have
That's
told
it.
me we were Lou
We
Rawls
found-
or something. They probably would have bought it.
We
You'll
found
never
a place to sing
find-
karaoke.
Player, anyways. So
Which
Well,
they did.
you're a football player, anyway. So
Right,
why
I'm
not?
a football-
why
I'm
not
a-
a
yeah.
professional singer?
Yeah, you are a famous NFL player, according to Brian Bondi from My Buddies. That's right.
Je suis un joueur de football américain au Université de Georgie.
Oui. No, I just
Yeah.
have to go to the bathroom.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
Or
Oui.
I probably butchered it, but that's about as much as I
Hey.
can remember. But anyway,
That's quite all right, sir.
We're still doing that. I just got to get the gut down a little bit more to make it believable.
Hey, you're my boy, Blue. You're my boy. Tina, how about you? I know you've taken a few vacations in your day, but do you have a favorite or one that was memorable for you?
Handy's story kind of reminded me of the best part of this trip.
You
My
remind me of a
favorite trip we went to Greece and the Greek islands.
Okay.
So we went to Athens, we went to Crete, and then we were in Santorini. When we were in Crete was when the semifinal game of the World Cup between England and
England.
I forget who we were playing. It wasn't Spain or it might have been, I forget who it was. Anyways, we're in Greece when the World Cup is going on. So everywhere we went, the World Cup's on. People are all this stuff. So
Absolutely.
we're in this small little town in Crete called Hania, which is also about 10 miles from the NATO naval base that's stationed on the island.
Okay.
So we get there, we find that there's this English expat bar. And so we're like, okay, we'll go watch the game there. We walk in. Sherry's excited because she looks, because there's a mural of Biggie Small on the wall. But she's not a huge soccer fan, so she's okay. We get there, the guy, my cousin Matt, who we went with, he found out we could have a hookah thing. I'm just like, okay, let's have drinks. We didn't even get through the first half of the soccer game, and this bar drank that bar out of every beer they had on tap.
Wow.
Jesus.
And it got to the point where it literally, they were like, hand us €5 a piece. You can have whatever you want behind the bar.
Nice.
England loses.
Yes. Okay.
So all the English expats, which I'm not joking, at one point I walked like 15 feet away from some of these guys. Like, I'm going to that end of the bar until you're done. Because the hooligans was showing up. It's even better. 20 minutes after the game shows up, what walks in? 15 to 30 guys from a British naval medical ship, and all the nurses come in.
Oh.
We had to leave at 5 o'clock the next morning to take a bus to get to Heraclion, to get to Santorini. We did not go to sleep that night. We walked in.
Check it out the doctors there, Tina.
I don't practice Santorini.
Right.
Yeah. The rest of the night, fighting off these Cretan women. God, this is such a story.
I'm intrigued.
If you go to Crete and they talk about an American bar, Handy's going to know what I'm talking about when they talk about an American bar. When you have military personnel, it's a bar that caters to American servicemen.
Sure.
So there tends to be a lot of ladies of the night.
Lady.
Yeah. British British dudes had found these ladies of the night, brought them to the bar. They start talking to me, and then they were getting pissed at me because their money was talking to somebody else.
Ah.
It was the craziest night. It's just one of those that you just look back on it and like one bathroom for everybody. It was a unisex bathroom. There was shit going on everywhere.
Oh, I bet.
Like most memorable. One of my most memorable nights. It was.
Sounds like it. Sounds like you had a good old time there, Tina.
And I was one of those like I want to be back in bed by like 11 o'clock because we're leaving at 5.
Sure you were.
11 o'clock comes around and I'm like, fuck it, let's just keep drinking. Let's keep going because we're not gonna get to bed.
You gotta love it. Oh, you know what? That's a great story. That's just a great story. Like that's awesome. I mean, yeah.
Write a movie like this.
No, that's.
Like,
I
and
like
of
that.
course,
No,
the entire time I'm in there, through my head is Euro Trip with Scotty doesn't know.
Scotty doesn't know. Scotty doesn't know.
It was
Oh
it was a lot of fun.
No, it sounds great. Mine is a little bit more, I guess, sentimental. Again, like Sean, the only time I was ever out of the country was a quick during an actual vacation to New York and Massachusetts to visit some family. We jumped up into Canada for 2 days, so that's the only time I've actually been out of the United States, as it were. But my favorite trip was actually for my dad's 50th birthday. The kids got together and paid for Dad to go to Cooperstown, where the Baseball Hall of Fame is. My dad,
nice. Very nice.
Lifelong, my dad is, lifelong baseball guy. Played baseball in high school. There's stories about him being, having tryouts with a couple of professional teams at one point. But yeah, and so of course I was the lucky one who got to go with him. This was for my dad's 50th birthday, so this was 21 years ago. And so yeah, we flew in, to New York, New Jersey actually. Got a car, drove into Cooperstown, spent the weekend there. I mean, just too, like Sean was saying about going on a trip, to see his brother and getting to talk. And I think that was the thing that I took away from that trip, was just being able to be there with the old man. We get to the hotel, we're doing this, we go out for dinner the first night, right by Doubleday Field where the museum is, and we had a nice dinner. Next day we spent all day in the museum. Watched the minor league baseball team play on the field there, which was great to watch. Again, went to dinner, came back. We went and saw Once Upon a Time in Mexico for whatever reason. We went to a movie.
Oh man!
Kill some time, so we go and see Once Upon a Time in Mexico, Johnny Depp and all that. Then we come back to watch. We come back to our room. There's a heavyweight fight on, which I have to tell this story real quick, only because of the person involved. So this is again This was 2003 when my dad turned 50. So there was a heavyweight title fight. The champion was a guy named Chris Bird, and the challenger was a guy named Fress Akendo. Now Fress I had known because where I played Little League baseball at Hamlin Park here in Chicago, Fress was in the boxing program there. So Fress also went to the same high school I went to, Schurz. So I knew him, and I was like, "Hey, Dad, look, Fress is fighting." So we watched the fight, and basically, Fress got robbed. He beat up Chris Bird for about 12 rounds, and they give Chris Bird a decision. He retains his title, but then again, it was a Don King fight, so I wasn't so surprised at the outcome. Anyways, that's a story for another time. But yeah, just that trip itself was just memorable for the conversations I had with my dad, for being able to connect with him really and kind of get, I don't want to say get to know him better, but just, to be able to sit there across from him at dinner and just throw ideas back and forth and talk about stuff that's happening in our lives. And just overall, it's such a great trip. I'll never forget it. It truly is memorable to me for a lot of reasons, but that's probably in terms of the vacations I have taken, because I've taken a few by myself as well. I just think that one is definitely my favorite and definitely the most memorable. So, yeah, so that's mine. But again, as always, we've come to the end of another show. We want to thank everybody again. Nicole, Ben, Thomas, Kat, everybody in the comments, thank you so much for tuning in, guys, and commenting. We always appreciate that. We love the feedback. We love that you guys are paying attention to us. Again, thank you so much. Again, next week, please tune in for our big Super Bowl spectacular. Delilah, Sean, why are you laughing? What happened? What did Andy do now? Did he do something? I got to go to
Don't read the private chat. Just don't read the
Oh, you know what? away next time. Next time, I'm gonna find a way to get these private chats put up on here somewhere so you can see this stuff that goes on while this show is going on. Because I'm telling you, man, I quit. I can't. I can't. Oh man, I love it. I love it though. I can't lie. Oh my goodness, this is why I love this show so much because I can't even collect my thoughts right now. Oh my god, this is the best. Okay, you know what? I'm looking at So, welcome to the Roundtable Comedy Hour. We appreciate you all tuning in this week.
Holy hell.
So, for Sean Spencer, thank you for coming on this week. For Tino
That
Winter,
can help.
for Anthony Jokes Handy, I'm Nick Rosario. We'll see you next week, guys. Tune in for our Super Bowl show. Have a great night. Have a good week. Thank you so much. Oh my God, I love it.